Battlefield 6's beta is currently open, and compared to its previous entry, it actually sort of feels like Battlefield again. The classes are sort of back, the weapons are not tied to them anymore, the players are not some sort of hero like in 2042, and there's a whole lot of weird choices ranging from accessories to the weapons themselves. But overall, it's decent, even in terms of optimization. Launching the game for the first time, maxed out on my 12400F and 6700 XT, the game ran at around 100 FPS, which was surprising considering 2042's optimization. Another good thing is that you can disable upscaling and TAA. Thank you for that. I wear glasses for a reason, don't make them useless. Anyway, the 12400F is clearly a bottleneck, and this is the first game that managed to push my CPU to over 100C. Super still cooler. After that, I wondered how it would run on some of my old hardware. So here is my old RX 470 running the game. Released in 2016, this card is now almost 10 years old. Compared to hardware from the past, that's impressive. For comparison, a 9800 GT from 2008 could not run Battlefield 1 from 2016. But this, aside from a driver error that was quickly worked around, it was actually playable. Just like previously, I'm using my i5 12400F and 24GB of RAM at 3200 MHz. The game averages around 40 FPS at the lowest settings and is decently playable, especially after I've overclocked the card. I gained about 5 to 10 extra frames, which is a decent boost. Next, I decided to try a lower resolution, so I set the resolution scaling to the minimum and kept FSR off, because I hate upscaling, and the frame rate pretty much doubled. The game was decently playable now. A little too playable. Let's move the card to my old i5. The i5 7500. CPUs have changed a lot since Kaby Lake, thanks to AMD being more competitive again. More cores, more threads, new instruction sets, and the usual improvements. All of that makes this little CPU a bit outdated. But here it is. With 16GB of RAM, the game was somewhat playable, running at around 30 to 50 FPS. However, there were some annoying slowdowns. Like literally, the game was in slow motion. At this point, going down in hardware is pointless. This is the minimum you should run the game on. That's why I also tested with 4GB of RAM. Now the game is really unplayable. It's slow, it freezes, and the frame rates fluctuates a lot. There's not much else to say. It's insanely unplayable. You need at least 8GB of RAM. But I didn't stop there. Here's a laptop. It has an i3 1115G4, 12GB of RAM, and no GPU, meaning it uses the Intel Xe-G4 iGPU. After struggling with the drivers, I, unfortunately, managed to go in-game and got to suffer through this mess. At 1024x768 and 50% resolution scale, the game ran, or more like worked, or even crawled, I guess, if you can even say that. My advice is just don't try it. Don't do this. What? Why did I try this?